Welcome back to the channel, everybody. You were watching probably at Disney, and ahead of the Walt Disney Company's anticipated second quarter earnings call, as you probably heard, Disney dropped a bombshell of an announcement which totally dominated this morning's news cycle, and that was the reveal of Disney's 7th destination and its 13th theme park, Disneyland Abu Dhabi. For reference, the last new Disney park resort was Shanghai Disney, which opened in 2016. So it's been 9 years since the opening of the last resort to the announcement of this new one. And personally, this was not the news I wanted to hear today. Of course, a new park is always good news and is going to pique Disney park fan interest. But we already have questions about the domestic parks and previously announced projects, especially amid speculation and reports that there could be some changes. And Disneyland has been working on an expansion plan with Disneyland Forward for years now. So I think we all would rather hear a progress update about these domestic projects before something new overseas. However, as I've been talking about, there is a lot of economic uncertainty right now, and I get that Disneyland Abu Dhabi will create a brand new market, which Disney really emphasized, by the way, in their earnings call, as well as inspire new confidence in the company. And due to the deal that Disney cut with the United Arab Emirates Mural Group, this will be a new income stream with little to no risk to Disney and more like the setup between Tokyo Disneyland and Disney than Shanghai. And don't forget, Universal just announced its own overseas park a few weeks ago as part of its Epic Universe Victory Lap. So Disney clearly is trying to compete internationally. So I get it. I get why they went with this. But whether this is what I wanted and what other fans wanted, whether this is good news or bad news for the stateside Disney parks, that conversation can wait. We need to get to what you really want to hear, and that is everything we know about this new Disney destination and what Disney appears to be building at this surprise park. So, number one, Disneyland Abu Dhabi is going to be a waterfront resort. So again, not just a park, located on Yas Island, which is already a major tourist destination in the United Arab Emirates. So to my thinking, it's not going to be a destination in and of itself, but rather benefit from the island's existing tourism, such as the Warner Brothers World Park and the Ferrari World Park, while also contributing to their attendance numbers. Number two, Disneyland Abu Dhabi is more like the Tokyo Disneyland Resort than Shanghai Disney. I've already alluded to this a little bit, but the reason for this is because it'll be fully developed, built, and operated by the Mural Group in Abu Dhabi, which is already responsible for Yas Island's various tourism experiences. And this right here is why this was so appealing to Disney, because Disney isn't putting up any capital. Disney is responsible for the design and development of the park and will have an influence in its operations. But the Mural Group is running the show, and the House of Mouse is licensing its IP in a royalty-based deal. So what this means is Disney is getting paid for this. Unlike Shanghai, which Disney owns 43% of. And this is much more like the Tokyo Disneyland setup, as Disney doesn't fully operate those parks either. And while that worked out for Tokyo and Disney park fans, since Tokyo Disneyland and its parks are considered the best in the world to date, I don't know if just owning the IP and not the park is always great for the company's health. And I think it's unfortunate that other companies do better at running Disney parks than Disney itself. That is a trend that needs to change, in my opinion. Number three, Disneyland Abu Dhabi is not the name of the park, nor likely of the resort. It's supposedly a placeholder at the moment. And if that is true, let the speculation begin on what Disney names its destination, and let me know if you have any theories in the comments. Number four, as part of the announcement, Disney promised contemporary architecture, And this makes sense since it will need to fit in with Abu Dhabi's signature look and skyline. And that is a bit of a first, in my opinion, and really makes me think this park and resort are going to be dramatically different and not nearly as quote unquote Disney as other parks thus far, because the quaint old world storybook architecture, the Fantasyland style, may not work aesthetically with Yas Island. And this is why the concept art shows us a castle unlike any fans have seen so far, including Shanghai Disneyland's. And from what we can tell from this very impressionistic concept art, we have some traditional Middle Eastern architecture as the base that then turns into modern and futuristic spires. So maybe, for the first time, a Disney castle park may not have any fairy tale influences. And at the moment, it appears like it's going to be built on the shoreline, meaning a waterfront castle for a waterfront park. Number 5, Disney described this park as being its most advanced and immersive. Of course, this just screams to me we're going to get a lot of indoor experiences, which are a given the UAE's climate. But here's the thing. Disney is going to have to up its game because Yas Island is already home to many attractions, including the world's fastest coaster. So it'll be interesting to see what Disney manages to deliver. So Disney is going to need to deliver. I only hope that this will actually help Disney bring that advanced tech and immersion to the stateside parks and doesn't take any attention or resources away from what Disney has already announced. Lastly, number 6, Abu Dhabi Disneyland appears to be a recent decision. I can't say this with confidence. I do not know how long this park has been in the works, but it doesn't appear to be all that long. It seems very recent. And that may be due to, again, Universal's big moves and the financial appeal of the location. So that's what we know about this resort right now. And my biggest takeaway is that the waterfront location, coupled with how it needs to be on par with Abu Dhabi, means we're getting a truly next-gen Disney park, which may not look anything like what we're used to. Now, let's speculate about what Disney is looking to build at Disneyland Abu Dhabi from this very, very impressionistic concept art. And yes, I know this art is just an idea, a vibe, if you will, and it's going to change many times between now and opening, but it is what we have right now. Speculation is part of the fun, and it does offer us an idea of what Disney is thinking about and possibly developing, and there may be more answers here than you think. So in Disney's sizzle reel for the announcement, they use footage of certain properties in Disney parklands and attractions in spots that seemingly alluded to their presence in this new park. And these included Zootopia, Marvel, and Frozen. All of which makes sense given their relevancy and popularity. And I think we can see all of them in this concept art along with some others. So this area here definitely looks like Zootopia to me. The shape of the spires look just like what we got in Shanghai, and thanks to the sizzle reel, I think it's on the short list for sure for Disneyland Abu Dhabi. Moving down here and along the shoreline, I think this could be a Peter Pan land, kind of like what we got at Tokyo Disney Sea's Fantasy Springs, due to the ship, which is pretty clear here, and what could be a Skull Rock. However, this could also be a Pirates of the Caribbean land, with some of this rock work serving as the ride building for a Pirates of the Caribbean ride in the style of Shanghai Disneyland's, and which would also complement this park's seaside location. Now up here, I think this looks like Tron, and Tron Light Cycle Run was used in the real footage. But apart from that, I think the sleek design of Tron Light Cycle Run falls in line with Disney's promise of modern, contemporary architecture, and it would blend in with the Abu Dhabi look. And there's also the fact that Tron 3 is coming out this year, meaning further synergy and relevance. Now for this structure, I'm a little less confident about, but I do think it could be an indoor Avengers campus or Marvel attraction. And the reason I think this is the lighting you can see around the bottom of this structure. Again, I think Marvel is guaranteed for this park, but the lighting reminds me of the Friday design on the buildings at Disneyland Paris, and I think that's what we could be seeing here. Moving right along, I really think this is likely to be a Frozen land. In addition to showing Frozen and Frozen lands in the announcement video, and I want to say more than once, I think the look of this castle and the color of the rockwork evokes that Frozen aesthetic we've been seeing at other parks worldwide. And then finally, this structure here, to me, looks a lot like what we saw in the concept art for Disneyland's Pandora: The World of Avatar, which is inspired by Avatar: The Way of Water and would work seamlessly with Disneyland Abu Dhabi's waterfront location. And since Imagineering's plans for this Pandora 2.0 land are well into development, Disney could easily have this ready to go, including its indoor boat ride. So that's what I'm seeing. Again, this is very early stages, but I do think these are safe bets given this park's unique location and what it needs to achieve. And I fully expect we'll get confirmation very soon about exactly what Imagineering is settling on for this park. In his own video, Josh D'Amaro teased he would have more to share very soon. And of course, we have Destination D23 coming up in August, which is not that far away, and I will be on the ground at that event covering whatever else Disney reveals. So that is all I have on this for now. I have to admit, this really came out of nowhere, and I'm very curious to hear more, as well as get further confirmation about what Disney already has in the works here at the stateside parks. So I'll be keeping my ear to the ground for more about that too. And if you love Disney park news and analysis, but with a slightly different take, I would so appreciate if you would consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. It really helps me out. Also, I have begun channel memberships where my goal is to share other park news and rumors that may not warrant a full video, or to give you an idea of what I'm researching and what I've been hearing, as well as what I'm up to in the parks. So if that's of interest to you, please do check that out. Also, let me know your take on this shocker of an announcement. Are you excited for Disneyland Abu Dhabi? Is this good news for US Disney park fans or not? And do you agree with what I saw in the concept art? Was there anything I missed? Please let me know in the comments. But regardless, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a magical day.